The difference between an impressionist and a voice actor is a lot. And sometimes people don't realize that or can't differentiate between the two. An impressionist is someone who is kind of like, look at me, look at these cool voices that I can do. And it's usually momentary, spontaneous voices like, oh, you could do Peter Griffin from Family Guy. Oh, that's funny. And then, on to the next one. But with a voice actor, there really comes a real mental discipline. I mean, any given voice actor, at the very least, has 10 really good voices inside his or her head. And, it can range from anything from cartoon characters to famous people, actors and actresses, to narrations or radio voices or, even the movie guy voice, all this different stuff that is within a voice actor. And the secret is not only being able to just do a cool sounding voice, but it's to maintain that voice throughout the duration of a project. And that's the most difficult thing. Not only do you have to maintain this voice throughout the duration of a project, but you also have to act too. Usually when a voice actor gets a script, how it's supposed to be, is that the person who is requesting the job is very descriptive, as far as this is your character. This is the attitude. This is the mentality. Here's a little bit of backstory. And, just like a regular actor who appears on film, doing a role, a voice actor pretty much has to do the same thing. Like a voice actor will get behind the microphone, sometimes for hours at a time, like a full-time job, anywhere between 5 to 8 hours, sometimes even longer if the job calls for it. And they're trying to maintain this voice, but at the same time, they're trying to give this amazing, acting performance too, which people, they don't get to see that. But that's kind of how you know if you're a really good voice actor or not, if people can actually feel your performance through a voice. Like there's, like one of my friends, 8-Bit Misfit, who is a big YouTuber and an amazing voice actor. One of his most famous voices that he does is the Mark Hamill-style Joker from Batman the Animated Series. And I remember before I knew who this person was, we worked on a project together. We were just thrown together into some kind of a fan film where he played the Joker and I played, like Kevin Conroy, Batman, and I remember hearing his Joker performance for the first time. It was so hard to start my lines because I was just feeling this guy's performance like, oh my God, I'm like listening to the most authentic, like it's the real thing. And, you can feel it. And I was able to feed off of that actor's vocal performance. So, there's a lot that is very much involved, when it comes to you're either trying to comically be an impressionist and to show off, or to get down to business and, you're doing work. I mean, it is, being a voice actor, it is a job. And, I've been doing voice acting in fan films for, a few years now. And, I could even admit when I first started, I was a little shaky. And, as time goes on, things get more serious. Projects get bigger and bigger. And, you really have to put more into it. So, for me, when I'm recording a character voice for a script, or even something, like a radio voice or something, like a radio commercial for my agent or something like that, I'm giving it my all. I mean, I'm sitting there flailing my arms and shaking my fists and trying to give as much, of an ambiance to the performance, to the vocal performance as much as possible. And it is hard work because it's not just, read through the script. I mean, you are trying to figure out, reading the script, you're trying to figure out, okay, how is this character saying this line? And sometimes, you're giving 7 to 10 takes, sometimes even 15 takes on just one line. Now imagine, you have 100 lines in a script. You have 100 lines, and you're doing each line, 10 to 15 times a piece. You could be standing around for quite a while, recording a script. And when you're done, I mean, any voice actor will tell you, by the time you're done with a complete performance, your voice is sore, your throat is scratchy, your diaphragm hurts, if you're doing a lot of yelling stuff, and it definitely is a challenge, and it's not like some easy walk in the park. And sometimes you get lucky, and you get a script where it requires like some very quiet, whispery voice, and then you can kind of lay back and relax. But if you're doing like an action fan film and you're like some superhero and you have to be doing an accent, or if you're an alien or something, or a robot, it takes that much more patience. It takes a lot of patience to be a voice actor and sit there and just keep going and going and going until, first of all, you go until you feel that the performance is right. And you're like, all right, I'm going to send this off to the director or the producer or the talent scout. And you send it off, and, very rarely do they actually come back to you and say, hey, your performance, it's not what we were looking for. You'll have to re-record the entire thing again. That does happen. But there's also times where you say a line the wrong way. You've said it 15 different ways, but it's not the right way that the producer or the director wants. So, as part of your job, you have to go back and, replug everything in and redo the voice. And sometimes, depending how many special effects there are to get a voice a certain way, you might have to redo the whole script just for one frickin' line if you're the one adding your own effects. This way everything sounds consistent. So I mean, I have spent as little as maybe like 2 hours doing one project. And I have spent as much as, up to 5 days going back and forth working on bigger projects. And it can be time consuming. It could be exhaustive, like working another job. And, I think I can speak for a lot of voice actors and actresses, if not all of them, when I say that, that's really the huge difference between someone who just is, comically being an impressionist and someone who is professionally being a voice actor.